But when you get a parcel with MED tape on it, there is something rather exciting going on. A little bit like when you get a new iPhone box, half the fun is unpackaging it. So what have we got here then? All the parts needed then for the rebuild, the highlight of which being this, an MED damper, crank damper for the front. And the main reason for this is giving me that nice smooth surface for a new seal to run on, so I can get rid of my slow oil leak that I've got in that area. So nice bit of machine CNC material for the engine as a little bit of an upgrade. Before we start cutting then, it's always good to do a little bit of measurement. Measure twice, cut once and all that. So what I've been doing is getting the two gearboxes back to back just to see what the difference is. So here we've got the Ribcase on the left and the Type 9 on the right, and indeed there is the difference between the mounting holes. So what I've done is done some measurements from the front face and calculated that the difference between here and here is 66 millimeters. And why is that important? It means I actually already know where the mounting holes are on the MG Midget, because there's holes in the floor that take these two holes parallel with these holes in the side of the tunnel. So if I measure 66 millimeters from that hole and then drill another hole 66 millimeters further back, that's where the mounting hole is for the Type 9 gearbox. That doesn't of course solve all my problems, because this is the mounting plate for the Type 9, but what it does mean is I can then marry up these mounting holes to my known hole on the bodywork. I can put that in position, so I then know the drill holes that go into the tunnel and go through the floor in order to mount this plate. So theoretically, before I even cut anything, I can have these holes already in place, so then I can cut the metal out, offer the plate back up, it'll fit, knowing that the mounting holes will be in exactly the right place. It's a plan then. Under the car then, and here we have a little bit of dirt, which is quite helpful because it means I can do some marking in the dirt on the underside of the car. And what I've done is measured 66 millimeters from this hole, which is the gearbox mounting hole of the Ribcase box, back to here, and marked up 66 millimeters and drawn a line across the car. So what I can now do is fit up the gearbox Type 9 mounting bracket and see how it sits. So I'm absolutely sure that whoever designed this conversion, or whoever designed the MG Midget, had this conversion in mind, because the rails underneath the car very conveniently hold up the mounting plate with a whisker of space on the edge. But now what I've done is align these holes here. Let me see if you can see that maybe. Let's try and zoom in. There we go. So I've got my mounting line underneath, and then what that enables me to do is I'm going to drill these two holes here at the back of the mounting plate through the car and bolt that up. So what that means is I know where the plate sits on the bottom of the car with the mounting holes, and then I can take this plate off. I can then drill all the way, cut all the way back to here, and then fit in the support brackets. But then when I put this plate back on, I've got the two mounting holes already in place. I can put the plate back on, drill the hole through here to go through the cross member, and in theory the whole lot should line up with the rear gearbox mounting here. Right, so now we've got to drill the holes based on the pattern. So now we can offer up the plate and see if we can't just check it's aligned. So with the bottom plate in place, 4 screws put in place as well, we know they fit, and we know that these holes are lying 66mm past the mounting holes for the original gearbox. So I've marked up and scribed round the plate. We can remove that now, and I think we're in a place where we can start cutting. Going for first cut then on the cross member. So what we're going to do is align with the line of the bracket underneath, so just a few millimeters to the right. I'm going to try and get this cross member out, and then we can cut to the line of the gearbox tunnel back to a point at the back of the bracket there. Okay, so that's the hole cut in. I just need to tidy up the burrs and the edges with a power file, and then we can stick the box sections in to strengthen it up. So now we can seal the gap around the box, put a bit of rust protection on it, make sure that there's no water ingress going to happen there. But the good news is, because I've pre-drilled a hole for the mounting bracket, I can now drill straight through the box section, through the cross member, and put the bolt through, do the rust protection, and then put the mounting plate on the bottom. That's the box sections put in, bolts through. I'm not going to claim it's pretty, but it's doing the job. So now we can mount up the gearbox mounting plate. There we go then, gearbox mounted up, ready to go. So now I can turn my attention to getting the gearbox back on the engine and getting it ready to offer back up again.
Back in the garage then, and it's time to mate the gearbox to the engine. I've already done a little bit of pre-work on the engine then, so we've refitted the alloy timing cover, new gasket, fitted the breather, and here then fitted is this year's treat. So we've got a nice MED crank pulley, so that's been fitted. Top tip here, as a few people have mentioned, is to fit this with these bolts nice and loose, so it centres the seal on the surface here, and then once it's centred, you can tighten up these bolts. So in theory that should minimise your risk of a leak. So I'm hoping that fixes a small leak that I had this year. Above that then, the water pump has been removed. Got a new outlet here, so that'll be really good fun fitting that up once it's in the car. At the other end, we've sealed off the bypass, so not going to be having that anymore. And then taken the opportunity just to put the new flywheel on to take the 7.5-inch clutch. So tightened and torqued up the bolts for that, and then fitted this new piece in the middle that takes the spigot bearing that ties up then with the Type 9 gearbox to centralise that against the engine. So flywheel on. Next step then is to put the clutch on. I don't have an alignment tool for that, so what I'm going to be doing is doing that as best as I can by eye, and we'll fit that in there. On the gearbox side, the original MG Midget arm has been fitted to this bracket here, and the new roller bearing. Out of interest, that roller bearing has been machined to go over this diameter here. The original diameter is smaller, so it won't fit. You will need to get that carrier there machined for this to work, but we've got a nice new roller bearing fitted. Interesting setup here. Look, you'll see as the clutch arm operates, the mounting does actually slide up and down in the bracket, so had to use a lock nut situation here to make sure that that bolt doesn't come undone. So let's get this clutch fitted. So it's actually a bit of a fiddle getting the gearbox on. In the end, used gravity to help me tip the engine up on its end, so I could drop the gearbox down onto the back plate, and then it slotted in nicely. So a couple of bolts, and then we can start attaching a few other bits and pieces. Gearbox all bolted up then, so the only final thing left to do is sort the clutch slave out. So just to check that we've got it working properly, got the socket in here. I'm just going to operate the lever. So that'll centralise the clutch plate, and also just a chance to check that it is actually disengaging the clutch and that's operating correctly. Clutch slave cylinder on then. Now we know the clutch works correctly. This casting has been machined out just nicely to accept the standard clutch slave cylinder. So we can get that on. Of course, this cylinder has got a remote bleed nipple attached, so we'll take a look at that in a second and get that fitted up as well. So now we can drop the pin in. There we go, and a new split pin. So split that apart. So I'm going to lose the pin. We've got here on this car then a remote clutch bleed, highly recommended. Lying underneath the Midget trying to bleed it is an absolute nightmare, and gravity is your friend because air rises. So this is a fantastic upgrade. Don't really get often a chance to show it because it's normally tucked away underneath the bodywork, but you can see it here very clearly. Homemade, so got a bit of clutch pipe or brake pipe with a connector bent onto the end going into the bleed nipple hole. The pipe then is taken up to the side of the engine. We've got a female fitting that's been soldered onto the pipe, and then your clutch nipple, or your bleed nipple I should say, goes into the top there. So bleeding the clutch is absolutely easy. You just open the top, pressure bleed, send the fluid through, the air gets pushed up to the top, and you just siphon that off. Really, really easy. And any air that is still in the system naturally rises up through the pipe. So once every 6 months, 12 months, little quick bleed, just to bleed off any air that's accumulated, but the cylinder works perfectly as it should. Top tip. Last job then, we've bypassed the water pump now, so we've cut the fan belt, measured up. Need to order some parts in order to start making a new bracket to get the alternator to work in this setup. That's it for this video then. Engine is all done, dressed, ready to a point where it can be dropped back into the car. So in the next video what we'll do is we'll get the car in and we'll start to offer this up to the mounting plate that I've put in place to see if it all fits, and see if we can get the engine and gearbox back in. Until next time then, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. See you next time.